Hey there. So I was recently featured in this newspaper called The Intentional Muse, and one of the things that I love the most about this interview is that there is a section where they ask about your favorites, or it's called Caro's Rec. So they do this for all interviews, so it's pretty much your recommendations, and it was any 3 recommendations you wanted to give. I realized that I have so many favorites that I want to share with you, so here we are in a favorites of March kind of video. Some art related, some skincare related, some apothecary related, so just like random things that I've been loving and enjoying. Anyways, thank you for being here. In case you're new, hello, my name is Caro. I am a visual painter from Peru who lives in upstate New York. I share a little behind the scenes of my art, my life, and love for nature, and just random things and thoughts. So like, we are in my bedroom. Let me start by sharing deodorants. Probably for the last 8 years, I've been using Meow Meow Tweets deodorant. I love and adore their shampoo bars. Their deodorant, I started buying it when you could buy it in bulk. So this is made out of paper. So this one is grapefruit, which is amazing. I also used to love their coconut lavender, I believe it is. Anyways, they've been great and I used to love them, but I think that this actually happens to a lot of us with deodorants that we're using for a long time, that after a time they stop working for us. So Meow Meow Tweet doesn't work for me anymore. It might work for you if you're looking for a sustainable, plastic-free alternative for deodorant. So definitely check them out. So my new favorite deodorant is this one here. I recently taught a painting class at the Alchemist Kitchen, and my friend Natalia was there. This is the one that she recommended, and I've been using it for, I want to say, a month now, and I'm adoring it. I don't smell, I sweat a lot, and I get nervous when I teach classes or when I'm driving, so I'm just sweating all the time. And I've been on a pursuit to try to make life as sustainable as possible, and I'm very far away from being close to being zero waste, but I'm still trying my best. So this deodorant comes in a glass container. I wish you could scratch and smell the screen because it smells super strong and potent. So this deodorant is Dryland Wilds Desert Clean. I believe the brand is Dryland Wilds, and the specific one that I got is Desert Clean. I'm not 100% sure. So the ingredients are coconut oil, milk of magnesia, arrowwood powder, beeswax, sagebush infusion, botanical fragrance, and you get a pea size of these in your fingers, and then you put it in your armpits. And I've been loving it because I don't smell and I'm not stinky, and it's been great. So let's talk watercolors. All of these are from a brand called Case for Making. I prefer watercolor pens rather than tubes because, I don't know, that's just the way it is. All of these are from Case for Making. Case for Making is a brand that's based in San Francisco in the United States, and they sell earth pigment watercolors. They also sell synthetic watercolors. So you can buy pre-made palettes, or you can buy individual pans and then create your own palette. That's what I've been doing for the past few years. So what I do is I go on their website and I look for the earth pigment watercolor, the lake pigment watercolor, and the mineral pigment watercolors. And from there, I know what colors are the ones that I use the most in my art practice. And the reason why I wanted to share Case for Making with you today is because, yes, even though they have been my favorite for forever, so even though they have been my favorite for a very long time, I recently ordered... Hola, mi amor, ven. I recently placed in a new order, and these tiny guys are expensive. So anytime that I place an order, it's like a huge investment in my work, but at the same time, it's like a party whenever they arrive, because now I have tons of new colors. Some of them colors that I've been loving for the past few years, and it was just time to refill them. But just as with any handmade product, brand, case for making. There's moments when I go and one specific color that I've loved in the past, let's say lapis lazuli, they don't have it because at the moment they don't have access to that specific pigment. So it's also a matter of going and checking and coming in the right time. I remember I checked their website back in January and they had very little earth pigments at the time, so I came back to their website in March and realized they had a ton of earth pigment, and a lot of the ones that I really like, for example, pink piper stone is one of my favorite colors to work with. And I have to say that in my journey of trying to make my art practice as sustainable as possible, as I'm picking and choosing each color by hand and reading their website, it's happened to me that I think that a color is made from nature, and then I come back to the website and I realize that no, it's either synthetic or it's a mix in between synthetic and earth pigment. Last order that I placed, which was last year, I tried for the first time grape black. It gives you a beautiful deep, also brownish black, and this is made out of grape seeds, and I loved that because I had never tried that before. So this time around I went to pick a black or blackish color and I got peach black, and this is made out of the pits from peaches. So I'm excited to try this one out. I don't know, having these teeny tiny watercolors that are quite expensive but that truly are so rich on the pigment that they have, it's one of my favorite things of the year because I do it, as I was saying, once a year, once every year and a half, and I'm just so excited to keep working on this painting with those colors. And yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about watercolors because they make me so happy. Before I keep sharing about all the things that I've been loving this last month, I want to take a few seconds of our time to say, Squarespace, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace has everything you need to sell your services and get paid easily, all in one place. Set up a fully customizable site to share your products, events, gatherings, and experiences easily. Squarespace focuses on building it all in one place and attract clients so you can focus on creating and growing your business. Squarespace and I are partnering up. We're offering you a 2-week free trial. And once you're ready to launch, use the code Caro Arevalo to get 10% of your first purchase of a website or domain with them. And now let's go back to our video. All right, so books. I was gifted this trilogy for Christmas by my husband, and Isabel Allende is beloved by my mom and my sister, and I grew up in a house with women reading her books since I have memory, and she didn't disappoint. The first time that I read a book from her, I fell in love with her way of writing and her stories, and up until today, Isabel is one of my favorite authors. It was probably after reading Paula that I became obsessed with Isabel Allende's storytelling, and I was reading one of her books after the other, and it happened to me the same thing that happened when I watched the Almodóvar movies. I was just so in love with him that I watched probably like 6 of his movies one after the other, and then I don't even know what movie is which one, and I mix the characters in my mind, and the same thing happened to me with Isabel Allende's books. So what I'm doing now is I try to be very cautious of not reading her books one after the other. And anyways, she released this trilogy, so it's 3 books. So I'm reading them in order. The first one is La Ciudad de las Bestias, The City of the Beasts. After reading The City of the Beasts, I honestly didn't think that I could love the next book as much as I did that first one, because I love reading magical realism, and this book is full of it. And it's this National Geographic expedition to the jungles of Brazil in the one they're trying to see if they discover this ancient mythic beast that lives there. And it's these 2 kids that meet each other there, and they end up learning magic from different shamans and from the animals and from the wind and from the waters. ¿Qué pasa, mi amor? And anyways, it's just a book that the story is so magical and beautiful, and also speaks a lot about truth in the world. So I feel that a lot of that play of magical realism this is not necessarily an imaginative story, but rather the stories of the magic that the jungle carries. So I couldn't love La Ciudad de las Bestias anymore, and as soon as I finished, I was ready to start the second book. But knowing better than when I was younger, I've read 2 other books in between, and a couple weeks ago I finished the second book in this trilogy called El Reino del Dragón de Oro. I adored El Reino del Dragón de Oro. This is a story that takes place in the Himalayas, and it's just mesmerizing, and I was hooked. It's a page turner. That's the reason why I love Isabel. Her stories are page turners, and I love when that happens. You know, you're doing your day-to-day life, and all of a sudden you have a moment of thinking, oh my God, I cannot wait to go travel to this foreign country with my friends from the book, as I do every night. And maybe that's a reason, I'm gonna get emotional, maybe that's a reason why it breaks my heart when a book ends, because I'm like, what do you mean I won't be able to hang out with Nadia and with Jaguar any longer? Like, we've become such good friends, and I've learned so much about their life story and their struggles and their wins and their dreams, and it breaks my heart that books have to end. Because I feel we get to live so many lives and befriend so many characters along the way. The monkey, Boroba, he's my favorite character of the books. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to hang out with Boroba more. Like, I cannot wait only to read. Okay, anyways. Favorites lately, Isabel Allende, the trilogy of the memories of Águila y Jaguar. Okay, next thing, I swear I won't cry again. Today, at least on this video. Alright, so back in the studio. This is actually not a March favorite, but rather a 2025/2026 favorite. This was a gift, and this is a sketchbook. It's a watercolor sketchbook from the brand Hannah Mule. The paper is toned, and it's toned paper, 60 pages, 200 milligrams. And I love it. I had never had a toned sketchbook before, and this was a gift gifted to me back in London when I did my first cacao and painting gathering. And I've been loving this sketchbook for going outdoors with just a couple of art supplies, and from there painting something that I'm seeing, whether that's a landscape, a specific flower, but I've been more than anything focusing on landscapes. And I've been loving the toned paper because it lets me use lighter art supplies than the paper. So in this case, you might see that here I've used some white and also some light blue for the waters and the leaves that I did. So I think it's beautiful because usually white paper, you can only go darker. Here you can go lighter and darker than the paper. So it's fun, you know. I've been really enjoying it and playing around with it. And it's also cool to see how different your same art supply looks in a blank paper versus a toned paper. And this has been my favorite companion to just spend some time outdoors in nature observing. I am a true believer of keeping creative practices that are not your main creative practice. One other art supply that I've been loving is these microns. You might know that for my practice, I use earth pigment watercolors, and on top of the watercolors, I do black ink detail on rapidograph pens. My favorite is the 0.1, but I feel I've talked enough about the rapidographs. If you want to learn more about them in any of my favorite art supplies videos, I'm going to be raving about these because they're my favorite pen in the world. Long story short, I have always wanted to have the budget to bring Rotring reusable pens to my workshops, but they're quite pricey, and in workshops a lot of the art supplies, they tear very fast. You never know when you're having someone in their teens, tweens, or children joining class, so those pens wouldn't do a favor in there. Long story short, I've also always wanted to use microns, and I rarely teach drawing because microns are made out of plastic, and even though I could bring them back to my studio and I have that Terra box where I could recycle them, I'm still not a fan of plastic, so I haven't done a lot of drawing classes. That being said, Micron just came out with their beloved microns, but now they're green, which is very pretty. But the main thing about these microns is that now they are done in 100% recycled plastic. I love them. I got myself some 005 and 03s, which are somewhere there, and I've been loving them. I've been playing around with them in the studio. I actually bought them because I have a drawing class coming up in a couple of days, and I cannot wait to have everybody fall in love with small, tiny pens, and then probably get them subscribed in the cult of the Rotring pens. But shout out to Micron for thinking about not using virgin plastic and using 100% reused plastic. Yay to reused microns, they look so pretty as well. So I feel this is a win for the art world. I'm just so excited. The album I've been listening to the most is Lovingly by East Forest, and there is a guided version and album version. I've been loving the one without the guidance. I've also listened to the one that has the guidance. It's pretty much a guided meditation, which is, it might be an album made for psychedelic journeys. And I love the one without the words, the one that is not guided. And it's just East Forest's music. It's music that brings me back to my center. I feel any time that I play, especially that first song in the album, I'm back in myself, in love with life, in a place of gratitude, in a place of love and peace. And I think it's wild how music can have that effect on us. I went to see East Forest play live on November of last year, and I had seen him live before and I loved his show. But for some reason, the show of November last year didn't feel like a concert. It didn't feel like a music show. It felt like a full-on ceremony. And from there, I realized I hadn't listened to this album. And ever since that show, I've been listening to that album, especially in my morning practice when I sit down to meditate, sometimes write, sometimes just be in silence, sometimes drink a cup of plants. And that album has been, especially that first song in the album, has been just honey balm to my heart in crazy times like the ones we are living. And I think it is so potent how art in any form can transform how we're feeling. And for me, that album is just like immediate change of thought process and immediate change of heart feeling. And if at any point you want to, make a little ceremony or a little ritual for yourself whenever you're feeling off, I invite you to make a hot cup of plants and play that album in silence, if you can, with the sun on your face. I guarantee it's going to be an energy shift, mood shift for the positive. So that album, 1000% recommend. Hola, mi amor. Ok. Gali, les contamos de la cámara. Hola, Gali. All right, so Gala and I are here. Gala and I are here to share with you my one and only love. No, I'm kidding. I have been back shooting film for, I want to say 3 or 4 years, 2, 3 years, I don't know, for a few years now. And I got this AV1 Canon camera. I adore Canon, and I was looking for a camera that was not crazy expensive and that could let me play around with interchangeable lenses that came with a photometer and that would let me, do the manual focus and change all the things while at the same time keeping it very simple. This is a 35mm camera, Canon AV1. I actually only have this lens as of now. It's a 50mm lens. I have been making an effort to bring this camera with me to as many trips as I can, and there's just a beauty in the analog world. I it's funny, I always see these memes and I really resonate with them, that are like in between wanting to share all the things and seeing the beauty in social media, while also wanted to delete all your personal information online and just live an analog life. I feel that is the in between and the one I live. I have a YouTube channel, as you're seeing, and at the same time I love just deleting everything and having my phone off and disconnecting the Wi-Fi and being fully analog. And I feel that's what, navigating that dance is one of the most challenging things of our day and age. Camera just helps me be in the analog a little bit more. Instead of taking photos with my digital camera or with my phone, this beauty comes in handy, and I have loved the photos that I've been taking with it and just adore film. And I know there's so much more that I could be exploring, and I know it will come with time. My friend Vanessa keeps recommending the lomography film, so I want to try that, and there's just so much that I want to try, but for now, one lens and my Fuji rolls are perfect. You may not know this, but I moved to the United States in order to study photography, and I worked at the dark room in the school that I was going to, which was the International Center of Photography. I worked at the dark room, and I also worked at the library for a few years. I wish I had a YouTube channel back then, because it would have been so fun to bring you along the way to all my college years. But anyhow, so that's everything for today. Thank you for joining me and letting me rumble about a few of the things that I've been loving lately. And if you have any favorites that you feel I or anybody that watches this channel might feel inspired to explore, put it in the comments. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Thank you for being here, and I will be posting a new video in probably 2 weeks. Post usually every other week on Sundays. So anyways, thank you for being here. I hope you have a good day wherever you are, and I'll see you some other time. Bye.